Terr'ble Thompson the Musical. Hey, it's only 9 minutes long, and Art Carney mispronounces Terr'ble Thompson, but I was so up at the recording session that I was not about to butt in. It was 1955. The New York record producer Arthur Shimkin, for whom I'd done a couple of animated musical shorts when I was directing the UPA New York Animation Studio, heard of my newspaper strip and asked me to come up with the script for a musical production of it for a Simon & Schuster Little Golden record, one of those little 6-inch yellow plastic discs made for kiddie record players. Not a big deal, yet Shimkin brought in really top talent for the date. He got pop American composer Alec Wilder and Broadway lyricist Marshall Barer to write the songs, Mitch Miller's big orchestra and chorus, who often backed up Frank Sinatra, and the great comic actor Art Carney to sing and act the lead voices, and all for a children's musical record to be based on my comic strip, Terr'ble Thompson. The story that I wrote with my colleague Bill Bernal is silly and simple, of course, and not one that I actually used in the strip. Carney played the historical circus man P.T. Barnum, whose elephants were stolen, and also my standard villain Mean Morgan, who stole them. The kid who played Terr'ble Thompson must be a granddad by now. I'm sorry I don't remember his name. But the resulting Terr'ble Thompson musical recording was a short but slick professional production recorded live on tape according to the technology of the time, 1955. My comic strip was in national distribution by United Features Syndicate, alongside of Lil Abner and the Budding Peanuts. The signs were good for it to develop. But the pursuit of animation glory faced me with a painful choice. In 1956, I was anointed creative director of CBS Terrytoons. I had to sadly give up my barely budded strip, a boyhood dream come true. And so the Little Golden record was never issued, and the master tape seems to have spun off into Neverland. When Fantagraphics amazingly decided to publish a book restoring my virtually unknown and thoroughly forgotten 50-year-old comic strip, the memory of that fabled Terr'ble Thompson musical version resurfaced in my aging brain. But it was 50 years after the event, which, after all, may have existed only in my freestyle imagination. It was hard to convince anyone that it actually happened, especially as I could not find a single copy of it. The poor acetate disc I'd received as a souvenir after the session also vanished, somewhere in my disorderly mass of memorabilia. I desperately hoped that somewhere the tape of that recording must still exist in someone's archive. I'd hoped that it could be the icing on the cake of the Fantagraphics book, not only for my own satisfaction, but for a chance for people to hear some really catchy but still unknown songs by Alec Wilder and Marshall Barer, and of course the super rare performance by Art Carney. An intensive search of the internet was undertaken, but nearly everyone who took part in the recording had died. A search of the preserved personal archives of Alec Wilder and Marshall Barer came up empty. Apparently neither one of them felt the songs were of enough significance for them to archive a copy. The trail led as far as the Sibley Music Library of the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York. The director, James Farrington, wrote me that the recent bibliography of Alec Wilder's works did have a listing, but no recording or tape was found. So it's completely forgotten, completely unknown. I'd begun to believe myself that the thing existed only as one of my concocted stories. As one last try, I began threading through some tapes I'd once made for my son Kim, copying various jazz recordings I'd made in Prague during my early years here, and sometimes adding other recordings of interest. Just as I was about to give up, thinking of all the other things I was supposed to be doing with my time, there it was. Not a great copy, but listenable, and quite possibly the only one existing in the entire whole world, as Terr'ble would say. Remembering what miracles of modern sound restoration techniques did for my 1949 home recordings of John Lee Hooker, I brought the tape to the Prague sound studio I use for my film work to see what Pro Tools could do. It took 2 hours of tweaking to make the 9-minute production listenable, a miraculous work by my sound colleague Ondřej Muška. Miraculous. And here it is, opening with the Terr'ble Thompson March.
action? Who's the man of mystery? Who's the man who's bolder than bold? It's Terr'ble Thompson, the hero of history.
And I'm only 7.5 years old.
Who's the bravest hunter? Who's the finest soldier? Who is real important and great? It's Terr'ble Thompson, and just like he told you,
I'm 7.5, but I'm going on 8.
to blow the trumpet and sound the siren for Terr'ble Thompson, the hero of the ages, almost 8 years old.
Hey, fellas, can I be in your parade? Go on home, Tommy.
You're too little for us big guys.
Don't call me Tommy. I'm Terr'ble Thompson, and I'm fiercer and braver than anything.
I'm P.T. Barnum, and I'm the greatest circus man that ever was. Today is our big circus parade day, and all the children are waiting. Are the lions ready for the big parade? Are the clowns ready for the big parade? Are the laughing hyenas ready? All right, let's start the parade.
Wait, Mr. Barnum, the elephants are missing.
Egad, you can't have a parade without elephants. Send out the police.
The police can't find the elephants, Mr. Barnum.
Send out the fire department.
The firemen can't find them either.
Call out the United States of America Army.
The Army reports no unidentified elephants, sir.
Then there's only one very last hope left. Who? Terr'ble Thompson, the bravest, smartest elephant finder in the world.
Here he comes now!
Terr'ble Thompson, I'm P.T. Barnum, the greatest circus man that ever was. And I have come all the way from 1875 to find you because our elephants are lost. And we can't have a parade without elephants. And all the people are waiting. Can you please help me? Sir, Mr. Thompson, sir, please.
You can call me Terr'ble, Mr. Barnum. Now, let's get to the rudiments of this thing. Elephants don't get lost. They're too smart. They must have been took. Someone's hid them.
But where can you hide an elephant?
Oh, where can you hide an elephant? That's not easy to do.
I really, truly do not think he'd fit behind the kitchen sink.
You could not hide an enormous elephant in the toe of your shoe, and we wouldn't take the time to look between the pages of a book.
You never could deposit an elephant in the closet, and you never could squeeze his knees in under your bunk. I'm open to suggestions and asking silly questions. Could an elephant hide inside an elephant's trunk? Poppycock, where can you look when you've lost an elephant?
We don't know where to begin. There isn't anything big enough to hold an elephant in.
Where can you look when you've lost an elephant?
We don't know where to begin. There isn't anything big enough to hold an elephant in.
I'm Mean Morgan, and I have hidden the elephants where Terr'ble Thompson will never find them. And they can't have a parade without elephants. And they can't have any fun without a parade. And I hate fun.
He hates fun. Mean Morgan. Mean Morgan. Oh, he hates everyone. is definitely not delightful. Definitely. Mean Morgan, the man who can't stand fun. He hates kittens, he hates rabbits, he has definitely hateful habits. He's just naturally nasty. He's just naturally mean. He'd laugh out loud if you should trip and fall. When he wants to be nasty, when he wants to be mean, he doesn't have to try very hard at all. Mean Morgan. Mean Morgan. Yes, he's a nasty one. We could easily do without him. One thing's definitely bad about him. He hates fun.
And all this time, Terr'ble was looking in all the biggest caves for the elephants.
Hello? Any elephants in there? In there? In there?
And he looked in all the factories for the elephants.
Any elephants working in there?
Then he looked out over the ocean.
Ahoy! Any elephants aboard?
So Terr'ble began to think.
I have it! The only man mean enough to steal circus elephants is Mean Morgan. And there's his house. Open up, Mean Morgan.
Oh, it's you, Terr'ble Thompson. If you're looking for any elephants, you'll find none in here.
He's going out the back door. After him. He's heading toward those big gray buildings. Hey, those aren't buildings. They're the elephants. Mean Morgan painted windows on the elephants to fool us. What a trick.
But how can we get the elephants back in time for the parade?
We'll fly them back.
But you can't fly all these elephants in an airplane.
We'll get a big plane.
The elephants are back! Terr'ble Thompson found them!
Terr'ble Thompson, you have saved the circus parade, and you shall ride on the smiling elephant that's pulling the animal cage.
And look who's inside. It's Mean Morgan. He has to watch all the people having fun after all.
I'll get even next time we meet, Terr'ble Thompson.
Tommy! Oh, gosh, Mr. Barnum, I guess I can't be in your parade. It's my dinner time. Come in, Mom. So long, everybody.